A very good morning, everyone. So, after Wilms tumor and neuroblastoma, the third most common pediatric solid tumor is germ cell tumors. So, today I am going to cover gonadal germ cell tumors in children, recent advances. So, primary germ cell tumors arise by the malignant transformation of the primordial germ cells. And primarily, GCTs of testes constitute around 95% of all testicular tumors, while primary germ cell tumors of ovaries constitute around 20 to 30% of all ovarian tumors. Understanding recent advances helps improve diagnostics, treatment, and outcomes. This presentation covers epidemiology, diagnostics, treatments, and the future direction in the GCT management. So common sites for the germ cell tumors in pediatric age group apart from the gonadal is extragonadal, intracranial, mediastinum, retroperitoneum, and the pelvis. Pediatric germ cell tumor shows bimodal age distribution with peaks in early childhood and the adolescence. GCTs represent 3% of the cancer in those under 15 years and 14% in adolescents between 15 to 19 years. The higher incidence rates are observed in males than females, with trends varying globally. So, IA germ cell tumor. Germ cell tumors are among the most common cancers in the adolescent and the young adults. That is IA. Genetic predisposition include conditions like cryptorchidism, gonadal dysgenesis, and the Klinefelter syndrome, etc. Environmental factors influencing GCT development are still under study, but may contribute to risk. Family history and certain genetic mutations are also associated with a higher risk of germ cell tumors. So, classified into gonadal and extragonadal, and they are further divided into seminomatous and the non-seminomatous tumors. This classification helps tailor the treatments as well as different types of response variability therapies. Dysgerminoma is a seminomatous tumor type that is highly responsive to treatment. Yolk-Sac tumor is the most common malignant tumor in children associated with elevated alpha-fetoprotein levels. Embryonal carcinoma is a rare, aggressive, non-seminomatic type often found in the mixed tumors. So, germ cell tumors, seminomatous dysgerminoma, and non-seminomatous is choriocarcinoma, Yolk-Sac tumor, and the embryonal carcinoma. Tumor markers like alpha-fetoprotein and beta-HCG aid in the diagnosis with levels of correlating with tumor activity. Advanced imaging like MRI CT allows for precise tumor localization and staging. Biopsy and histopathology provide definitive diagnosis with insights into tumor subtypes. Platinum-based regimens is the standard of care for the germ cell tumors. New protocols address chemotherapy, which are the tumors which are resistant in high risk and the relapse cases. Research aims to balance efficacy with the minimizing the long-term toxicity. Salvage therapy for the refractory or recurrent germ cell tumors is therapy options is the conventional drug chemotherapy like paclitaxel, ifosfamide, and cisplatin-based chemotherapy, that is TIP. While high-dose chemotherapy contains TICE, paclitaxel plus ifosfamide, followed by high-dose carboplatin and plus etoposide, with stem cell support every 21 to 28 days for 2 cycles. Stem cell transplantation improves the outcome in high-dose chemotherapy cases and refractory cases. There are ongoing global trials like TIGER trials, which compare the conventional drug chemotherapy with the high-dose chemotherapy to identify the optimal strategies for the salvage therapy. Coming to the surgical management, complete resection is the key for localized tumors and improve survival rates. Minimally invasive surgical technique reduce the recovery times and complications, but we have to select the cases. The approach depends on the tumor size, location, and the surrounding structures. Surgical treatment of pediatric and adolescent testicular germ cell tumor. Treatment paradigm for pre-pubertal patient now largely favor testis-sparing surgery in appropriate patient, contrary to the classic treatment with radical orchiectomy. In post-pubertal patient, the standard of care continues to be radical orchiectomy in most cases, with some notable exception which will be discussed later. The classic initial treatment for all testicular tumors is inguinal radical hysterectomy because of the high rate of benign testicular tumor in the prepubertal population and the reliable accuracy of the intraoperative prosection. Now the trend is going toward the partial orchectomy, and it is becoming a safer option for selected patient with normal serum tumor markers. For suspected post-pubertal germ cell tumor, inguinal radical orchectomy is still the standard of care. An additional special note is the use of partial orchectomy for bilateral tumors or the tumors in a solitary testicle. So key surgical oncologic principles are: during radical orchectomy, surgery must be approached via an inguinal incision, delivering the testis and mass without tumor spillage. The testis sparing approach is the standard of care for prepubertal patients with physiologically normal serum markers. Complete resection of all residual masses more than 1 centimeter that remains after chemotherapy once the tumor markers are normalized. For example, in the retroperitoneum, formal anatomic retroperitoneal lymph node dissection needs to be done. Coming to the ovarian germ cell tumor, complete surgical staging as recommended by the Children Oncology Group. Complete staging should occur in any pediatric and adolescent patient presenting with an ovarian tumor and must include sampling of the peritoneal fluid for cytology, complete evaluation of the peritoneal surfaces with biopsy of the suspicious nodules, evaluation of the omentum and the resection of the abnormal one, evaluation of the retroperitoneal lymph node and the biopsy of the abnormal node with intact removal of the ovarian tumor whenever possible. So this is a Pyrrhic victory. Pyrrhic victory means victory nearly as costly as defeat. So minimizing treatment-related morbidity is the important part in the GCT. Toxicity risk: therapy can lead to secondary cancer like leukemia, thyroid, bladder cancer. Long-term monitoring requires for the cardiovascular disease, hypogonadism, metabolic syndrome. Emerging therapies are immunotherapy, targeted therapy, molecular genetics. Clinical trials, international studies aim to refine GCT treatment protocols and improve survival rate. So prognosis is very good in the pediatric GCT, exceeding 90%, but the only problem is the toxicity. So all the studies are now GCT survivor face long-term health risks, neurotoxicity, cardiovascular disease, secondary cancer, and more. The Platinum study highlights adverse health outcomes like tinnitus, neuropathy, and cognitive decline post-treatment. Collaborative studies aim to monitor and improve survivorship quality, addressing the late effects and the lifestyle adjustment. The regular follow-up is essential to monitor with the with the imaging and the tumor markers. The future direction is molecular stratification. Then current trials explore microRNA guided therapy, intensified therapy for high-risk group, and the collaborative approach is important. So in conclusion, significant progress has been made in understanding and managing the GCTs in children. Continued research is vital to improving diagnostic treatment and survivorship. A collaborative approach holds promise for better patient outcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nisha. Are there any questions? Please. Yes, please. Mic is coming. Yeah. Behind you, behind you.
Thank you, Manjusha.
Yes.
Do you have any experience of cytoreductive surgery for benign recurrence?
Sorry?
Cytoreductive surgery for ovarian benign recurrence?
Yes.
What you do?
Cytoreductive means we have to complete according to the COG. Apart from the removal of the tumor, we have to do the sampling of the omentum, abnormal omentum, as well as if there is any suspicious nodule seen.
Now, what about peritoneectomy?
Peritoneal?
Peritoneectomy in benign recurrence.
Yes, peritoneal fluid analysis also should be taken.
And do you do RPLND? Because when the primary surgery is done, majority of the immature germ cell tumor usually omentectomy is done. So omentectomy is not the
Not omentectomy. They said ki you have to resect at least the abnormal part, abnormal nodules.
no. What I'm telling, omentectomy is done in primary surgery. Now there is secondary benign recurrence where mildly avid bed positive and no tumor marker is positive, is negative. So that's called benign recurrence, and that we do peritoneectomy and RPLND is always added RPLND.
RPL
Sir, there is a difference in the surgical procedure for the adults and in children.
Yes.
Omentectomy is not required to be done in pediatric malignant germ cell tumors of the ovary. Only the part of the omentum which is adherent to the tumor is removed, and peritoneectomy is also not required because the chemotherapy is so effective. So these are descriptions for the epithelial tumors. They're not for malignant germ cell tumors. Even if there are nodules in the peritoneum in malignant germ cell tumors, biopsy is taken, peritoneectomy is not required.
Yes,
Because
only
the
the-
chemotherapy is very effective.
No, sir. Chemotherapy, when we have treated a primary germ cell tumor with chemotherapy, after that there is a recurrence.
If it
benign
is more
recurrence.
than 1 centimeter, yes, we can do the RPLND.
Yes, RPLND and peritoneectomy is indicated. I have done this peritoneectomy.
No, you may have done, sir, but retroperitoneal lymphadenectomy or RPLND is not required in malignant germ cell tumors of the ovary.
No,
Yeah.
sir,
It
I'm
is not
talking-
required.
I'm not
Whatever
talking
is
about the
left,
primary.
whatever lymph nodes are left, if the tumor markers are negative, then they can be left. They do not need to be removed unless they are very big. As Manjusha has mentioned, if they are more than 1 or 2 centimeters, then they can be removed. But invariably, they will come out to be histologically negative.
Usually they are
No,
necrotic.
this you are following even in the recurrence. I'm talking about the recurrence.
How have you proved recurrence? Their tumor markers are negative. We will go to the next question now.
There is
Dr.
a
Simi,
huge.
please.
Ne-
We'll discuss.
Yes, sir. You are saying that the retroperitoneal recurrence.
There is huge mass in the abdomen
So
which is
in that
benign.
case, we have to give the salvage chemotherapy first, and then later on, once the cytoreduction everything is
So-
done, you prove and there is a residual disease, and then you can do RPLND again.
Thank you,
Sir,
Dr.
I just
Manjusha.
wanted to add
Will
to
Dr.
Sir's
Simi first,
answer.
please.
That
Wait.
what
Dr.
sir is
Shalini-
talking about, sir is what
Yeah,
sir
yeah,
is
Dr.
talking
Shalini,
about is
just a
more
minute,
for
just a
adult
minute, just a minute.
patients.
Dr. Simi
We don't
first.
do it.
Okay, as one interesting point here is about the partial orchidectomy with normal markers.
Yes.
But normal markers can be there for tumors
Embryonic
other
carcinoma.
than.
Yeah, nowadays.
So how to?
So nowadays in the prepubertal stage, 75% are coming out as a benign condition. So that's why the POS come into the picture. So once you open this thing, you take you do the excision biopsy, enucleation of the tumor, send for the frozen section. If it is a benign, then you close the testes and put it back into the scrotum.
Sometimes it is juvenile granulosa
Yeah.
tumor, other tumors other
Yeah.
Yeah,
than this
instead
thing.
of
Right. So, as the time is up, we will discuss the rest over coffee. The next, we'll end this session here. I think session is ends. Thank you.
thank you
Dr.
very
Manjusha.
much. Thank you.